In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
The Lord be the beginning and end of all that we do and say. Prompt our actions by your grace, and bring them to completion according to your holy will. Through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Good afternoon, sisters. This afternoon I would like to take a very famous passage from the Gospel of St. John and reflect with you about another aspect of the heart of Jesus. Morning we spoke that the heart of Jesus, being the Good Shepherd, is a heart that does not calculate, a heart that goes out of the way, a heart that walks an extra mile. And this afternoon we would like to see the heart of Jesus as a forgiving heart, a very forgiving heart, by reading and reflecting about the episode of the woman caught in adultery from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 8, verses 1 to 11. We all know this episode, but let us try to read it once again with little more attention. While Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, early in the morning, he came again to the temple. All the people came to him, and he sat down and began to teach them. The scribes and Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery, and making her stand before all of them, they said to him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say?" They said this to test him, so that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." And once again he bent down and wrote on the ground. When they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the elders. And Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, sir." And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go your way, and from now on, do not sin again." Dear sisters, when we read this passage, there are so many things that we can reflect about. I would like to begin by saying a small story again. There was this small boy who was caught stealing something in his house from the father's pocket, some money. And his elder brother caught him red-handed while stealing money from his father's pocket. And his elder brother made a big noise and called all the house people. "I saw this fellow taking money from the father's pocket." Made him to stand there. All elders were around him, looking at him as if given a chance they would even eat him. This fellow was standing there amidst all these elders, literally in tears. He was just waiting. What would these people say? But none of them were saying anything. But they were looking at him, with a lot of anger and resentment. This fellow was in full tears, and after some time, he just asked them, "Won't somebody forgive me for doing this small thing?" The small fellow was waiting for some answer, some response from these elders, and then since they did not respond to him, he would not wait, and then he said, "Will not somebody forgive me?" Sisters, if you ask me what is the biggest need of the world today, the biggest need of the world is, according to me, is not money, is not name and fame. The biggest need is forgiveness. Just give a thought to it. The biggest need of the world is forgiveness. People are treating this forgiveness as a treasure that is sought after by everyone in the world. The reason is because in the world, so many people are broken, so many are hurt, and so many are guilty. So many are broken because of their problems. So many are hurt because of something or the other that happened in their lives. So many people feel guilty because they have done some mistake. The brokenness, the hurt, and the guilt is there in everyone. And everyone is waiting for some forgiveness. Everybody is asking, will not somebody forgive me? Everybody is asking the same question. Won't you forgive me for once at least? Maybe people must have committed mistakes, knowingly or unknowingly. Maybe they have fallen into wrong things without being aware. Or maybe they got trapped into situations of error and faults. Whatever may be the situation, everyone is asking this question. Won't someone forgive me? The gospel narrative of the woman caught in adultery by John is a testimony of a person who was found or who found herself in the lowest level in the society. It is a testimony of a person when everybody seemed to reject her. There was one man who came to her aid when everything seemed to be over and out. This one man, because of this one man, she was able to receive acceptance and forgiveness. She found herself again called to newness of life, a renewed life. And because of this one man, she was given one chance to live a new life again. And people are asking, one chance please. I'm sure many people must have asked you, please give me one chance. It can be from different ways or in many circumstances. People must have asked you, please give me one chance. Maybe to prove themselves, or maybe to correct themselves, or maybe to say that they have not done anything wrong. No. I'm sure many people must have asked you, please give me one chance. By the grace and the power of the Lord who intervened in this woman's life, there was instilled a new hope of life in her life. A new zeal was put in her heart. This is a story of a tragic failure in life, first of all. Tragic failure of life. And this is a story of immense shame in life. And this is a story of generous grace in that woman's life. That woman found herself in utter failure, tragedy of her life, and she found herself in utter shame when all these Jews surrounded her and publicly paraded her and said, she has committed adultery and she has to be stoned to death. But then she also found grace in her life through this one man. Let us go a little more into the incident itself. We see that the so-called the elders and the Jews and the Pharisees, let us say, these people brought this woman to Jesus and they said, we have caught her in the act of committing the adultery. In the 3rd verse we read, they found her, it seems, in the act of making this sin, so-called sin, according to their interpretation. As if they had some CC cameras in their eyes. Yeah. They said, yes, we have found her in the act. Very, very interesting. We will be reflecting about this a little more. These people had lust in their eyes. They were looking at this woman with desire. Otherwise, what man could find a woman in the act of finding or doing adultery? They had as if a special probing eyes for them. And these are the people who are called self-appointed, self-righteous people. Self-righteous people. They are called moralists in our society today. There are so many people who call themselves as righteous. No one needs to tell them that you are a good man. They call themselves, I am a righteous person. Self-appointed moralists they are called. We have so many people around us, this kind of people. I will give you some very disturbing examples also. I have heard of a religious community of women where the economer of the house, you know what is an economer? The bursar of the house, installed CC cameras all around the convent, not because of security, but because she wanted to know which man is coming to the convent and going out. Yeah. CC cameras were installed around the convent just to spy. And the monitor was in her room, not in any common place, not in the superior's room. It was in the economist's room because she had doubted one sister in the community. Yeah. Have you heard of religious people tapping the phones of others? Phone calls were tapped. At least now when the mobiles came, maybe this is becoming a little difficult. You know, in olden days, when there were landlines, there were people who used to have a parallel connection and they used to listen when somebody else is speaking down there. And they call themselves as superiors or so-called moralists, self-appointed moralists. Am I speaking anything wrong or anything? These were things which happened, right? When people spoke some personal things, they are interested more in their lives. When someone is sitting in the parlor and talking to a friend, other sister used to walk up and down there just to know what they are talking. And in between, just for the sake of, do you want some water, father? Do you want to have some tea, father? These kind of things would happen. We have people who are interested in others' lives more. And they call themselves as righteous, self-appointed, righteous people, moralists as we call themselves, as they call themselves. They think that their intentions are very clean. They think that they are helping other people not to make mistakes. I mean, we need somebody, whoever is an authority, need to correct others. I'm not speaking about those people who are truly trying to help other people. But what I'm speaking is like the self-appointed moralists who call themselves as good and all others are bad. And these kind of Jews, the elders, they have come up bringing this woman to Jesus. And they wanted to trap Jesus. They already trapped this woman and they wanted to trap Jesus. They wanted to give Jesus, or they wanted to put Jesus in a dilemma. They gave him almost a kind of a challenging situation. There was this challenge, or there was a contention between two things. One side, law of the Lord, and on the other side, law of the land. What is the law of the Lord? In the Deuteronomy we read, if a woman is found committing adultery, if the case is proven against her, she should be stoned to death. There is a law of the Lord. And what is the law of the land? The Romans were ruling the land at that time. And except the Roman governor, no other people have got right to decide about other people's lives. If you have to punish someone with life sentence or death sentence, only the Roman governor could do that. That is why even to crucify Jesus, they had to go to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. They wanted by all means to kill Jesus. That is why they had to go all the way. If it is some small other things, they could have decided by themselves. Maybe flogging, maybe some kind of other punishments. The Jews could themselves decide. But if it is a matter of death, only the Roman governor could do it. And now they are bringing this woman to Jesus and trying to put Jesus in a situation of dilemma. If suppose the Lord permitted killing, they would say, you are taking the land, law of the land in your hands and you have given a sentence to kill her. And suppose if Jesus says, no, don't kill her, they might say, you are going against the law of Moses, of the Lord himself. They want to put him in this kind of in this kind of a dilemma. And you know what are these kind of people? They are like demigods. Small gods, they think that themselves as small gods. They can make decisions for others. And so they try to confuse people. Now, if Jesus forgave this woman, he would go against the principle of justice. Justice is if somebody makes a mistake, you have to punish them. Is it so? Whenever somebody makes a mistake, we have to punish them. That is justice. And this woman made a big mistake, committing adultery. And they saw her in the act. And if Jesus says, no, I am forgiving, he would go against the principle of justice. And suppose if he permitted killing, he would go against his own teaching. He said, I came to search the lost. I came for the sinners, etc., etc., Jesus spoke. And suppose if he said, okay, kill her, he would go against his own teaching. Now he is in utter confusion. Now he is forced into utter confusion by these people. The sisters, these Jews, the elders of the Jews, they claimed that they caught the woman in the act of adultery and they want to catch Jesus in the act of committing a mistake. Which decision he would make in the act. That's very important. They are trying to find fault not only with woman but also with Jesus himself. They are trying to find fault with Jesus himself. The woman was paraded, maybe naked, we don't know, in the public streets, stripped of her all dignity, let us say. At least, if not physical nudity, at least moral nudity. Her dignity, her personal privacy was simply stripped off and paraded naked. And now they want to also humiliate Jesus and strip him also of his glory. Till then the people respected Jesus as a good teacher, and the Jews wanted to strip him of that good name. You see the intentions of all these kind of people, sisters. I am trying to explain to you how these people thought, how their thoughts were. They were thinking very logically, using their heads, their knowledge of the law. They had so much of knowledge of the law, and they were using their minds and trying to trick people. This is one side of the coin. They were like the Satan who are coming to tempt Jesus without knowing that he himself is the lawgiver. No? They wanted to use their mere human thinking without realizing that Jesus had divine wisdom. Divine wisdom is far more greater than human thinking and knowledge. In the incident, what we see is the mercy of God extends to the sinner. It goes beyond all human weaknesses and all human maliciousness. It goes beyond all that. The mercy of God excels far more. Their wickedness, in the wickedness of these Jews, they failed to see goodness in the woman, some goodness. And they failed to see that the lawgiver himself is sitting there, and they are trying to trick him with the law, with the twists and turns of the law itself. And see what Jesus does there. What does Jesus do when they accuse this woman? He bends down and starts writing with his finger on the ground. Very interesting, you know. Jesus was not bothered about all these things as well. He simply bent down his head, started writing on the ground with his finger. And this can be compared to God giving the law. On Mount Sinai, God wrote the commandments on the stone tablets with his finger. We read in Exodus 32:16. Tablets were made by God, having inscriptions on them that were engraved by God Himself. Exodus 32:16 says. And here is the lawgiver himself, the new Moses, the son of the lawgiver. He is now writing the law. He is not writing a new law. He is not at all writing a new law, but he is trying to give a new understanding to the existing law. Law was same. Till today the law is same. But a new understanding to the law is given. So far, till then, the people read the law and tried to understand the law with their minds. And now, this new lawgiver is making us to understand the law using our hearts. Keep your heart in the law and try to understand the law. Then only you can understand this law perfectly. The law of the Lord will be understood only when we use our heart to think of the law and to follow the law. He did not write any new commandment, but he wrote to make understand the true spirit of the law and the commandment. And he says, let anyone who is without sin be the first one to throw the stone. That was like a blow on the faces of all these so-called self-made moralists. A big blow to them, a tight slap on their faces almost. The new lawgiver says, who is able to punish a sinner? Only the person without sin in himself or herself. Only he is able to punish the sinner. That is why God says, sinning is human maybe, forgiveness is divine, and also the judgment belongs to God and not to any human beings. Human we are also full of sins. And so we cannot make judgments on other people. And that is what Jesus tells all these people. This statement, one statement, any one of you who is without sin, be the first one to throw the stone. That sentence shattered all the accusers. All the thoughts were shattered. The accusers I am speaking about. There are these accusers and there is one accused. The one who is found in sin, at least the accused, and the people who pointed fingers at her, the accusers. Those who came to stone her and kill her brutally, now they found the guilt of their sin in their hearts. When he said this one sentence, their hearts were torn as it were. They found the guilt of their sin heavy on themselves. Those who came to enjoy the nakedness of this woman themselves were stripped naked. Those who wanted to kill her were killed themselves. Those who wanted to point out fingers at this woman's sin and shame were put to shame themselves. Now what happened? Justice has triumphed. Mercy has excelled, and ultimately love had won the game. The sisters, everyone left. All people left. Now who is left there? The evangelist says, the woman was left alone with Jesus, still bending and writing on the ground. All the accusers left. Only the accused is left now in front of the divine master, the divine judge. What judgment is this man going to give? The woman's heart was thumping as it were. He gave a beautiful judgment to the people there, and now what judgment will he give? She was just waiting to hear from the divine master, the divine judge. And what does Jesus say? Has no one hurt you? Has no one stoned you? She says, no, sir. And Jesus says, I will give you one more chance. I will grant you one more chance. That one chance to realize the mistakes of your life, to amend your life, and to start a new life. one more chance. I will give you that one more chance. Dear sisters, many times life may often reduce us to the same state as this accused woman. Many times in life, we may find ourselves crushed, broken, accused, abandoned, and shamed. Many incidents, many experiences that we face may be like this. Maybe not because of our own mistakes, because of the accusations of people, or maybe at times because of our own faults. We will find ourselves in shame, in brokenness, in accusations, in confusions, in the same state where the woman found herself. We also find ourselves. And at that time, we ask, is there no one to forgive me? Yes, I have made a mistake. Is there no one who can forgive me? This is the question that all of us ask. And what is the answer that we receive from this divine master, from this divine judge? The divine master, in his divine wisdom, he only thinks with his heart. And his heart has a lot of space for us. His heart is full of love and forgiveness. And that is why this merciful Savior says, neither do I condemn you. Go from now onwards, sin no more. I give you one more chance. I give you one more chance, my child. Sin no more, the Divine Master says. Dear sisters, this is where we stand now. This is the situation where we stand today. Whatever may be the situation of our lives, however broken we are, however shameful we are put into, however disgusting situations we are thrown into, however crushed we are, however accused we are, there is a Divine Master who says to us, I forgive you, my child. And now, we have to question ourselves, what is our attitude towards the people who must have sinned knowingly or unknowingly, who must have committed some mistakes? You know, we all have got magnifying glasses in our eyes most of the time. We all put on these specs with magnifying glasses. Even if we don't wear specs, we have magnifying glasses on our eyes. A small little mistake of somebody looks so big for us, or we try to magnify it. We blow it out of proportion. A small mistake that someone has done. My God! A mistake that is supposed to be within the four walls of the community reaches the whole world. Other day, I saw on Facebook very interesting post by one priest. You know what? The provincial or the bishop, I'm not very sure whether he's a diocesan or this one. He was given transfer. Okay? And this priest collected the signatures from all the parishioners. Please don't transfer our father. All signatures, about some 2,000 signatures from the families, and he posted them on the Facebook. On the Facebook story. Just imagine, sisters, something that is supposed to be within the four walls reaches the whole world. It is not just life of one person which is becoming public, the life of the whole church is at stake. Is it not? Because of the small thing that we speak out there, the whole life of the church is at stake. Just instead of correcting a small our brother or sister in private, we make issues of big things. Instead of just pointing out a small error and say, sister or brother, this is the mistake that you have done. Why don't you please correct it in privacy? You know, when Jesus says, even Jesus says that, when somebody makes a mistake, first go, you alone go and correct it. And if that person does not listen, take one or two members along with you and go and correct them. If still he doesn't change, then bring it to the community. And if still he or she doesn't change, leave it to God. You are no one to judge. You know, we don't follow these steps. The first thing that we do is publicize the whole issue. Publicize the whole issue. Yeah. It may be small thing, it may be big thing. But for the person who is committing that mistake, that is a question of life and death almost. It may be small or big, doesn't matter. But the sinner, we have to stand in the place of the so-called sinner I'm speaking about. The woman may have committed adultery, may not have committed adultery. Very sad thing, The evangelist doesn't speak anything about her life, but there are so many preachers who make her a prostitute. No? We only read she was caught in adultery. And we have preachers who say she was a prostitute. We just imagine. What is not there, we read between the lines. What is not there, we imagine too many things. Just one sister of our community speaking to somebody, and we look at that with magnifying glasses, with binoculars. From far also we can look. She is doing something, I know what she is doing. When somebody is speaking over the phone, we are curious, what is she speaking? Why is she on phone sometimes so long? This kind of curiosity increases in us. What is our attitude? We become too judgmental. Too judgmental. We put on the gown of the judge and sit on the judgment throne. We become gods, semi-gods, demigods in other words. We pass judgments on people's lives. And we present ourselves as perfect people. We are the perfect people in the world. We forget to look at a big log in our eyes while looking at a small speck in the other people's eyes. Is that not our attitude many times, sisters? And today, this divine master, the divine judge is telling us, can you give one chance to the people around you who are in need of forgiveness? Can you use your heart to think instead of using your mind to make judgments? Can you use your heart to be merciful and to love other people who are in need? As I said, the world is in need of forgiveness. The world is in need of love. The world is in need of mercy. The world is not in need of judges anyway. We have so many judges. Government appointed judges, so many are there. We don't need to become judges ourselves anyway. And above all these judges, there is a judge there in the heaven. And let him do the judgment. But we take up on ourselves. We put a crown on our head and say, I am the perfect person. And so I can pass any judgment on you. Can we see some goodness in other people? People are waiting with this question. Will somebody not forgive me? Will somebody not forgive me? Can anyone give me one more chance? People are willing to change, yes. Given an opportunity, people can change, sisters. People can mend their lives. They can start a new life when they realize what the problem with their life is. This woman, maybe she was caught in adultery, yes. It was a big sin according to the law of Moses. Even in today's world, adultery is not a small sin anyway. But then, Jesus does not look at her sin. Jesus looks at her heart. He connects his heart to her heart. What may be going on in her heart? Is she willing to repent? Is she willing to take this chance and mend her ways? There are some people who even say, this woman was no one else than Mary Magdalene, and she changed her life and she started following Jesus. We are not sure of the story. But even if that story is right, you just look at that. One chance given makes her the first witness of resurrection. How great a change. Are we willing to give one chance to the people who may be making errors in their lives? Yeah, we make mistakes. No doubt about that. Human we are. All of us tend to make mistakes. Many times what happens is, we don't realize the sin in us, but we want to throw stones at other people. In English there is a saying, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones up at others. Heard of that proverb? We live in a glass house and we start throwing stones at other people. What will happen to you tomorrow? Whole house will be broken down. Yeah. When we become judges ourselves, tomorrow we will be put to shame. When we do some mistake, will be put to shame. Let us not be judgmental. The heart of Jesus is forgiving heart, a loving heart, a heart full of mercy. Can I follow Jesus who has called me to be more merciful, to love people, and to forgive people? When we forgive, we receive forgiveness. Jesus teaches the same thing in the prayer Our Father. Forgive us our sins. And there is a condition. As we forgive those who sin against us. When we forgive those people who sin against us, we have the right to ask God to forgive us. If we do not forgive people who sin against us, we have no right to ask for forgiveness at all. Jesus is very clear even in the prayer. This prayer called universal prayer. This is not only applicable only to Christians, everybody for that matter. Any human being in this world can have this as a dictum. This is the law. When you forgive other people, you can ask for forgiveness from others or even from God. When you don't forgive other people, when you cannot give one more chance to somebody else, we have no right to ask God for one more chance. Sisters, let us give a thought to this. This is the penultimate talk of our retreat. Tomorrow we have morning one talk, where I will be reflecting about the heart of Mary. And Jesus' heart is this. Can we follow this heart of Jesus? Maybe this retreat, if it can give you something, some change for all of us, maybe let it be this. Give our hearts little work. Let the heart start to work, not just our mind. Not just reading the law in the letter, but trying to follow the spirit of the law. Let us learn how to follow this law from the lawgiver himself.